Welcome everybody to another exclusive interview. My name is Altamash Iftikhar. I'm president of IAppreciate.org, nonprofit organization to help empower survivors of domestic violence. I'm here with my main man, one of the hottest underground rappers there is, and a good friend of mine. He just tore it up on stage, and it's late and his voice is going, so we're going to keep this interview very short. Of course, I'm talking about none other than my man Immortal Technique. Tech, thanks a lot for sitting down with us for a few minutes and answering a few questions. Real quick, one of your most talked about songs is Dance with the Devil. And I know a lot of people, what they want to know is, were you involved in it? Were you involved in that incident? Or is that something you were talking about things that happened in the community? So if you could just shed some light on that, that'd be great.
I know those people that were involved. A lot of them are dead or in jail. I personally didn't participate in the rape of the woman. I never participated in that. But I think what made the story famous is that it kept repeating itself. It happened with some Bloods in Jersey. It happened with some brothers out in Queens. So it's happened, and we continue to repeat the cycle with lots of gang initiations. And it goes to show us that really this is the rape of a nation that we're talking about, not just a single state. And we're doing it to our own people now, rather than having other people do it to us.
Right. Well, I mean, as you know, rap music oftentimes is under some heavy fire with their lyrics, especially towards women. What do you think, being an artist and being listened to by such a large number of people, what do you think, the responsibility lies on the artist as far as their lyrics and especially towards women?
I mean, I think if you want to complain about the treatment of women, rap is one of the last places that people need to go. There's Hollywood, there is politics, there's religion. I think that hip-hop mirrors all that. But if you want to complain to somebody, why would you complain to their reflection in the mirror? Why wouldn't you attack the problem where it begins rather than the reflection of it? Although I think there's something to be said about the responsibility of artists and the education of children, but I think that if you spoke directly to those kids, you would get a better result than you would trying to get some ignorant rapper to get up there and say, oh, hey, I'm sorry I called women bitches. Because then you're just going to say it in another song. Even if you got the rapper that says the word bitch the most in the record to come and recant and say, I'm sorry I said that, you're going to still play those classic records. I think it's just important for people to understand that type of music is unfortunately more often not taken out of context. And when we talk about misogyny, it's mislabeled because misogyny means the hatred of women. Many of these rappers hate women secretly and despise them. I just think that they grew up in a position where they saw the women that they were around be neglected and abused, and a lot of them come from broken homes with no father. That's the truth.
When you hear like statistics like 1 in 5 teenage girls experience domestic violence, or 3 women and 1 man are killed as a result of domestic violence every single day, why do you think we still don't talk about domestic violence in society? And when we only talk about it, it's only when it happens to like a celebrity or someone of status.
I mean, I think it's something that America would rather not discuss because it looks like the land of freedom and opportunity. Why would you want it to appear as if people are getting abused left and right? Also, there's something that we don't talk about a lot, and it's the fact that there are people in positions of power that do this. That they have a manifestation of abuse in their personality and who they are. So it's almost like a microcosm of what we're doing as a nation. You think about a cop abusing his wife, who's she gonna call? A politician is a different story. You got political leverage.
So what's your advice to those women and men? Because I mean, oftentimes it's not talked about, but men get abused too sometimes. What's your advice to people?
That's crazy.
No, but I'm just saying.
I can't imagine a woman beating the fuck out of me. What I mean emotionally, I definitely can see women.
Men are actually more likely to be killed in domestic violence related events than women are. Yeah, but I'm saying it's still domestic violence because people think domestic violence and they think that the definition of that is just a man beating a woman. But that's not the reality of it. You know what I'm saying?
Killing a man in his sleep or some shit.
It could be many things.
I feel like I think that's something that you should look into. My message with these people will be, especially if there's children.
What about the young people, like your fans out there? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to add a second question. My apologies.
It's just, I would say that if that's going on in your home, then you definitely need to speak about it. Because if you have a problem, that's one thing. But if you have a problem, you don't tell nobody about it, then you got to be on the right track. The most important thing, and the thing that steals power from people, is to let them know what's going on. Tell your neighbors, tell the person in school, tell another family member, tell anybody. But speak about it. And speak about it to everyone you possibly can. Don't be afraid to keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid of them threatening you. What are they gonna do? Beat your ass out of there? I've done that before. You know, I'm gonna kill you. Really? Well, then you're going to jail. You're gonna get fucked in the ass for the rest of your life. Because you know people in jail don't like motherfucking rapists and child killers.
Right.
So don't be afraid. Reach deep down in yourself and speak your mind.
And last question, oftentimes children are the most prominent victims of domestic violence. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. I know you just did a mission where you went to Afghanistan. Why don't you tell the people out there about what you did and what caused you to do this, and especially in that specific country?
Yo, it's funny how you asked me. You only had 4 questions, and you asked me like 10 questions for every question.
This is my 4th question. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4.
This mad question.
Homie, that's no.
You a liar. I might answer your question.
I appreciate that.
I went to Afghanistan because I feel like, you know, we can do this here. The circumstances that children are living under and the abuse that they receive is much worse out there. And I think that if these children weren't put in this situation where they could find refuge, that they would be drafted into a fundamentalist militia, they would be sold into the black market, into prostitution, die of exposure, and incredible illness. I felt like I wanted to put that into perspective for people out there who take stuff like that for granted that we have as the people here in the United States of America. I also feel like I said on stage, if I can succeed here, you know what I mean, doing the same things that I did there, it should be 10 times easier doing it over here. If I succeeded over there, then what's to stop me from doing this here? The whole point of perspective was to show people the history of where did the Taliban come from? They come from refugee camps. They come from orphan parents. From people that never took the time to give a fuck about it. You know? And if we can provide an environment where people learn and they're educated and they're not just giving up to fundamentalism, they're not taught to associate it with what other people tell them the Quran is without their personal interpretation, because God is about your relationship with God. You know, and it gives the child the courage to stand up and ask what is talking to them. Hey, if it's really in God's will to blow myself up in the name of Allah, if you're so fucking brave, why don't you do it? Why are you telling the young impressionable children to do it? You know, if we're talking about the building of a nation, if we're talking about the history of Afghanistan, and I want people to learn how much the United States invested in the Mujahideen, how much they invested in people who are now part of Al-Qaeda. People who are now on the run of the
not you. That was good.
All right, hey man, really appreciate the time. You know what I'm saying? We got a little something.
There's no diversity because we're burning in the melting pot. So when the devil wants to dance with you, you better say never, because a dance with the devil might last you forever.